Wait, so let me get this straight. You're thinking about switching to DaVinci Resolve? This is Editing Guests with Jake, the show where I sit down with fellow editors and we talk about all things editing, editing tools, YouTube, and wherever else the wind takes us.
Today's challenger is... the final cover.
Ladies and gentlemen, my dorky daddies, welcome back to Editing Guests with Jake. I think that's what I called it. It's been so long since I've done an episode. We're bringing it back today, and of course we're bringing it back today because we have none other than Dylan Bates, the Final Cut bro, who wanted to come and talk to me about editing and Final Cut. Dylan, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, Jake. It is a pleasure and honor and all of the other words that express that I'm excited.
Hey, the honor is mine. I again, when I messaged you and you were like, oh yeah, I was like, why? Why do people want to keep coming and talking to me about editing? It's because we love it. We love editing.
Yes.
So
obsessed.
Okay, on this show, I've got a little bit of a tradition of, I call it rapid fire with Jake, where I try to ask some questions. The hope is that all the answers are nice and short and sweet, and then we'll get into we'll get into the juice. We'll let the wind take us wherever afterwards, but there is some structure here up at the beginning. And my first rapid fire question is, what is your favorite NLE?
Oh man, hard one. Final Cut Pro.
Easy. Second question, are you on a laptop or a desktop setup? Mainly.
Ooh, I'm all in on laptop.
Okay.
I can talk more about that, but I'm obsessed with the laptop.
we will circle back on that because it seems like such a small thing, but I love hearing people's perspectives on that. And I literally feel like I rotate every 5 years. So
yeah. That'll probably be me too, because I just switched to the laptop not that long ago. So
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We will talk about that. Third question. Do you learn the standard hotkeys for Final Cut Pro, or do you make your own?
I do both. I learn them so that I can teach them. And then when I'm not filming, I switch over to my own custom keyboard shortcuts. Perfect.
Okay. Yep. I was wondering because actually, who was it? Oh, I think it was Mr. Alex Tech. He said the exact same thing where he's like, I have to learn the standard because I have to teach people. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just that person that forces my hotkeys upon everyone else.
Just messing with everybody.
Yeah, they're like,
trust
wait,
me, it's Option S, I swear.
I swear that's what it is. Exactly. All right. Question number 4. I'm going to say, what is your favorite movie right now? But it could be of all time. I'm open to either.
Oh, dude. Okay, I'm going to go all time.
Okay, all time.
Gladiator. Everything about Gladiator, the storytelling, the way everything's shot, man, that movie I could watch over and over.
That for sure is on my, I don't know how big my list is, but it's on my list. I've got a running list of movies that make the list.
Yeah.
It's probably top 10. It's got to be.
Yeah. So, although Lord of the Rings is close contender, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. Ugh.
I watch that one every year with my wife. The whole trilogy extended. We do that every year for Christmas. So
yeah, you have to. You have to. They're so good. That's a good answer. Did you see the second one?
The second Gladiator? I did, and I did not like it.
Okay. Yep.
I was disappointed.
You and I
was not entertained. Let's just say that.
I was not either. Yeah. I was like, I'm breaking rapid fire, but it's okay. There's no rules here. There's no rules.
It's your own podcast. Do what you want, man.
Do what I want. No, I told my wife, I was like, look, I don't think it was that bad of a movie, but when you love the first one as much as I it's borderline biblical.
Yeah.
The second one, just it's kind of destined for failure unless it just blows your socks off, and it didn't do that. So sorry, didn't like it.
didn't like it. And they tried their hardest. They went out there, they did it, but it's just it felt like they just made up story points from the first movie that were never talked about in the first movie, and suddenly, well, I won't spoil it for people, but there's just the major plot of the movie. I'm like, they didn't even ever mention a single sentence of that plot point, and here we are. This whole movie is based around that, so.
Totally. Yeah, it felt very contrived, for sure. Oh, well, hey, we agree. That's fun.
We agree. We don't even have to agree to disagree.
Don't even have to agree to disagree. Question number 5. I'll try to get us back on track here. Favorite cloud service to move and share footage. So I had Dropbox, Google Drive, or iCloud, but maybe there's ones I don't know about. I always love to get this question from people for others.
I desperately wish there was one that I didn't know about, but I use Dropbox, but I'm not okay. It works the best out of the 3 for me personally, but I don't like it, so it's a necessary evil.
For sure. I feel like that is I think that's my answer as well. Like for the most important things, it works the best. But there's a few gotchas that drive me crazy, which is the fact that everyone has to have accounts for like certain size of stuff. So sharing things with normies is, I think that's maybe gotten a little bit better recently, but like everyone has Google Drive and it doesn't matter on file size or anything like that. But guarantee of my download happening in Google Drive compared to Dropbox.
Yeah, right. That's so true. My problem with
crap internet, but
so my main issue with Dropbox is because I started up my channel and I signed up for their unlimited data plan. Okay. And I was like, this is perfect. Like, I don't need to stress about getting new drives and stuff. It just continues to grow.
Yep.
And then they just were like, so actually, unlimited doesn't exist. And you're halfway through your plan this year, but that doesn't matter. We're just taking your data away. And it screwed me over big time. And then they just refused to help me out.
Really?
After the fact, it was one of the worst customer support experiences I've ever had. So I don't like Dropbox. Necessary evil.
Yeah. Okay. No, that sucks, dude. That's a terrible story. Ugh. Yeah. I don't.
I'll never be sponsored by them ever.
Yeah. Well, hey, good to know. I was gonna say. I mean,
if I do, I'm getting a ton of money. Just know, okay? I'm taking home the bag.
You will see my lifestyle change dramatically if there's a Dropbox sponsor.
So, I do use them.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Last rapid fire question before we get into the meat and potatoes of editing today. What's your favorite thing to do besides editing in YouTube? I'm assuming those, we'll get into it. I'm assuming those are jobs.
Yeah. They're fun jobs.
They're fun jobs for sure. What's your favorite, like, not those things to do?
Oh man, I love just like walking and running. I love just taking in the environment around me. So, and with that comes, like, I really enjoy travel and walking and running in those spaces and stuff. So I would say that's kind of my biggest hobby at this moment outside of YouTube.
Yeah. No, that's great, dude. That's awesome. Are you like marathon runner or?
I want to get there.
Okay.
So right now my big runs are about 10 miles and I don't know how many kilometers that is for all my friends over there who use the better, superior metric system.
Yeah. But hey, I wouldn't know it, so we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I was really getting into it last summer because the weather was nice. I loved it. It gets cold here in the winter, so kind of switched back over to like more strength training stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'd like to do a mix this summer, but I don't know. I mean, the marathon thing is interesting. I did my first 5K last year, but that still just feels like tiddlywinks compared to a marathon.
I know. I should have gone for it. Yesterday I could have gone for the half marathon. Yeah. There's just a turn I can take and it makes it a half marathon if I do it. And I should have done it because that's a goal this year, but I slacked. My hip was hurting a little bit. Such a wimp.
Yeah, don't hurt. No, you don't want to hurt yourself. Don't
Yeah.
hurt yourself.
I was so close though. I should have just done it.
Yeah.
Regret.
Dang, that's cool. Okay, we got the Final Cut bro who's into running. I love it.
Yeah. That's gonna be my other YouTube channel, I guess.
Yeah, what could you call it? I guess the running bro. I don't know.
The
something.
running bro. It's just full personality. I have to go all in on the bro, or what am I doing at this point? So
yeah. I'm sure I've got some version of an intro on this podcast where I mention that. But yeah, for those of you who don't know Dylan, he has a channel called The Final Cut Bro, and it's all about Final Cut Pro, which, just do you do marketing classes on the side?
Hey, my dad was in advertising. He's a filmmaker. I grew up in it, so I just had to,
Yeah. No, tell us. I mean, I'm curious because again, I love your channel. I love the way you edit, the consistency. Like there's no mistaking that you're like in a Dylan video when you start watching it. But this is why we love podcasts, walk me through getting us there. Cause I don't know anything about your journey. What, was Final Cut Pro your first NLE? Like what got you to where we're at today, where you're kind of known as the Final Cut guy on YouTube?
Yeah. Okay. So, my father is a filmmaker. So, it's just, I grew up in the world. He created commercials. I'd go on set, work as a grip. I acted in a couple of them. There's a reason I'm not an actor, let's just say. But I just really, really loved cameras. And I have 4 siblings actually, and we would grow up and just film stupid short films. And man, I gotta break those out of the vault sometime because there's some good ones in there. But yeah, I had access to Final Cut Pro. I don't remember which number, if it was 7 or earlier, but that's just kind of what I grew up getting to use because of my dad's background in editing. And it was just kind of like film school as a kid, I'd edit stuff. My dad would be like, "Oh, that's awesome. You could improve here and like make the story shorter there, and that would make it that much better." So yeah, I just got free film school, man. And I'm so blessed by that. And I just realized I really, really loved it. And then it was as I was 13. I'm so bad with ages. Everybody will be like, "Oh, yeah, this year I did this, that." I don't know. 13 or 14, whenever Final Cut Pro 10 came out. And I saw the little keynote that Apple did on it. And I was like, that editor looks awesome. Well, everybody else was kind of jumping ship and like, no, this isn't for me. I was like, that is exactly what I want. Yeah. So I was mowing lawns at the time, and I just went out, cut as many lawns as I could, saved up $300, and I bought it in iTunes gift cards. I went to Walmart and bought $300 worth of iTunes gift cards. And they only had 50s, so I had to just get so many of these and put them all in, bought Final Cut Pro. Here I am this many years later, still using it and haven't paid a dime more. So that's really incredible. Yeah. And along the way, I bought, motion and compressor and stuff and kind of filled out the suite. But Final Cut Pro, that was perfect for me.
Yeah. Well, and you've really been there for forever because I'm trying to remember when I first started using it. It had to have been 2017, 2018-ish, like right around the end of, I think right around when I was graduating. And yeah, I was like, I can't even remember what version that was, but deep into 10.
Yeah.
So that's cool that you even survived the historical jump that everyone talks about from, because Final Cut used to be this track-based, very similar to all the other editors. Yeah. And then 10 was this big point where a lot of people were like, no, we're out of here. And you were like, I'm in, I'm sold.
I just think it was perfect because it was lacking a lot of professional tools that people were wanting at the time. But that didn't matter to 13-year-old me. I was just like, dude, I can cut and all the clips stay together, and it's got more professional stuff here. And I don't know. It was like right place, right time for me as a kid. And then I've just been able to grow my editing at the same time that Final Cut Pro's been growing. So, yeah, it's been really incredible.
Yeah. So when did you start doing YouTube then in that timeline? Like that had to have been quite a bit after that, or were you starting
Yeah.
young?
So over my whole life, I've desperately wanted to do YouTube for a living. That's just been like the dream for me.
Okay.
So I've tried, I think I'm around 5 channels. I've tried YouTube over and over again. There's a lot of these channels are still out there. So if somebody can find them, it's going to be a good time. I started a Blender tutorial channel. I had a Minecraft beatboxing Hobbit channel. I had short film channels.
Yeah.
I tried it all. But it wasn't until this small thing that happened. Not many people are aware of it, but it was called COVID. And COVID just, locked us up at home. And I was like, if I don't do this now, when am I going to do it? I have more time than ever. Everybody's stuck at home. So it was in July of 2020 that I was like, I literally just woke up on a day off and was like, I'm going to film a video and I'm going to do this every week for forever. Like, I'm going to treat this like a full-time job on top of my other job. This is something I want. I'm going to do it. So I started filming. Videos were terrible, but it didn't matter. I was doing it. And I've just grown immensely. I've worked hard to make every video just that much better than the last one. I've learned so much, but I guess it's coming up on 5 years, which is insane to me. Yeah. And I've been able to be full time for about 3.5 of those. So that is just like crazy. It's a fever dream that I get to do what I'm doing because I wanted it so bad. And then it happened so fast because of the way I was treating it. And like, this is a full-time job. And not so much for the money side of it, but just like, I just want to pay my bills doing this. And if I can do that, I'm happy. And I got there and I'm happy. So I did it.
Oh, dude, congrats, first of all.
Thank you.
We love achieving goals we set out. That's super cool.
Victory. I can retire now. So
yeah, exactly. You've done it. What were you doing? What was your job that you were still doing at the same time? Was it editing related or was it completely different?
Yeah, so I was a drug dealer. No, I'm just kidding.
He probably was a comedian with how this podcast has gone so far.
I wish. My wife would tell you otherwise. She's like, yeah, no, he's got no shot. So I was actually video editing for my church at the time. And one of the pastors there, he had a show that he was running called Hope Generation. And it was just designed around giving people hope who were, really depressed. So my task was to create kind of 2-minute long short films every single week. So I would edit those for the show. And then my dad and brother, who are also both film video editors, my dad was kind of producing, directing the show, and then my brother was helping edit. So he would edit kind of the full chunk of the show, and then I had my little short 2-minute short film things. And so that was my task at the time. And it was, it was really fun. It taught me speed in editing more than anything. And, just taking whatever footage you get and turning that into some sort of story. So it was a fun time. I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. No, and that's cool that it is related to what you do now, because that was kind of my question. Like, that's not my story, right? Like, I've got completely different arenas in this whole thing. And I find it so fascinating to hear how people weave that. Because I think too, like the thing that I've always struggled with and the thing that's interesting about your story is just doing something creatively for a job and then kind of doing another creative thing for fun. But then the goal is to turn that also into a job. And I mean, it seems like your transition was certainly not without its bumps from what you're implying, but like very smooth and I mean, obviously successful. And I don't know if there's anything there that you want to share or if there was anything interesting about that transition, but it's just cool to see. It's cool to see it happen.
the craziest part of the transition was I was getting a bit burnt out at my old job.
Yeah.
Um, and I felt like it was time to move on. And so I finally, I talked to this other company and they were going to hire me on full time. They're going to pay me double my salary. It was just like a super exciting time.
Whoa.
And so I was like, okay, this is it. I'm jumping ship. And then they're they told me the day I quit, they're like, "Oh, yeah, we can't hire you for like a month." Yeah,
Oh.
so uh, they're like, everybody's out of town. So I was
Yeah.
just out of a job. I had quit. There's no unemployment or anything, and I was like,
Right.
shoot, I gotta figure something else out. So I just went all in on freelance,
Okay.
picked up some editing jobs, and was able to pay my bills. And then I, of course, was doing the YouTube channel. It was starting to make a little bit of money. And I was like, oh, this is kind of working. Like, I could do this. And I wouldn't have taken that leap had I not known there was another job waiting for me, right?
Right.
So then that month came around and I was like, hey, I'm good. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm liking this better anyway. And then things were getting tight and I did have another job offer on the table. I went in, did the whole interview process. It was the day I was going to start, and I showed up and did the flakiest thing I've ever done in my life. I quit the day I started and said, there's this check in my heart. I really want to do YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm making the money there. I'm going to do it. So I quit there, and yeah, the rest is history. I was fortunate enough to get sponsors and stuff that really helped the channel, and I just went all in on it. And it was scary at the beginning because, you got to provide for, I was married at the time, still am, obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it was scary, but I'm so glad I took the leap. And I'm really glad that I had that false sense of stability
Mhm.
at one side. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken that jump. So that's been a cool part of the journey, I think.
Yeah. No, and that's crazy cool. Um, do you still do any freelance stuff today, or is that pretty much zero?
I do it if it sounds fun to me, which is
Okay.
such a cool place to be in. I was just in London actually last week, filming a conference, and like, I'm not going to say no to going to London and filming a
No.
conference. So yeah, I do those odd jobs here and there when they sound really incredible and fun. So
Yeah.
dude, I just wake up every day and I'm just like, I don't deserve the life I have. I'm so dang blessed and grateful that I get to do this.
Oh, no, it's so cool to hear. I don't know. That's just fantastic humility. And I mean, again, like clearly there's been a lot of hard work and effort into it. And yeah, don't sell yourself short, brother.
Yeah. Appreciate that, brother.
But okay. No, okay. But all of this time, so we've gotten a little bit of background. We got to the YouTube background. Like it really has been Final Cut the whole time.
Whole time.
Whole
It's
time.
been, man, it's so fluid for me. I just love it. I feel so creative when I'm using it.
Yeah.
I know there's other amazing NLEs, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, there's just something about Final Cut Pro that it's really hard to describe. Like if you get it, you get it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love it.
Yeah. No, I mean, we talked about it before we did this show. Like I've got an agenda. I obviously want to head and be where we're at with Editor's Landscape. Cause I just like, and I think this about me. I love talking about this stuff, not because I'm interested in the fandom of it. Like I think that piece of it is particularly stupid and frustrating, but I always hope that people who watch my channel or a show like this know that like I just love, it's just the love of the game. And like if there really only was one type of hammer out there, then that's what we would talk about. You and I would just talk about Final Cut this whole time, but like there's not. There's other hammers, and I am very intrigued by that. So we're headed that way. But before we talk about that, like you said, Final Cut is so fluid. Like what else? I guess maybe my first question is, have you tried any of the others, and why does it keep maybe bringing you back, or what is your favorite pieces about it?
Yeah, so I have tried a few other NLEs just over the years of kind of dabbling around. I've never done a serious project in any other NLE.
Okay.
But I've played around with Premiere for a while, and I've tried DaVinci Resolve, of course, and that one's growing some heat here.
Yeah.
So I definitely enjoyed parts of it. There is stuff that's like, oh yeah, that would make sense if Final Cut had that.
Mhm.
But there's never been something that's just clicked the way Final Cut has for me, and that literally could just be because of where I was at in life when Final Cut Pro came out. I don't know if it's just pure bias off of that. I know that there's a lot of other editors that share the love for Final Cut that I do, so I don't think it's just that, but yeah,
No.
there's just something about it that keeps me coming home. Yeah.
You're talking to one of them. Like,
Yeah, right
you
there.
don't need to be too coy here. Like, I love it. I mean, yeah, it wasn't my first NLE because, but it was my first real one. Like, all of the
Mhm.
other ones I used before were free, open
Yeah,
source pieces of garbage. They sucked.
yeah.
And it was the first one I spent real big boy money on. And yeah, like, same as you, there is a love there, there's a history there, but I think it is grounded in a lot of real objective things, which I talk about all
Mhm.
the time. And I think that your sentiment is completely spot on, and you're never going to hear me today being like, you're stupid, why are you doing this? But
You should do that in the podcast, just every once in a while. Just
why
really
don't you
spice
switch
it
to
up.
Resolve, you
What
idiot?
is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you?
I would watch that podcast.
Okay, maybe I'll consider doing it then. No, I'm too nice. That's the problem. I'm too reasonable. Too reasonable.
Too reasonable, that's what it is. Yeah. It's
But
almost like you can have multiple opinions on software. I don't know, it's crazy.
crazy to think that that could be the case. But yeah, like, all that to say, like, I think that it's just a crazy time we live in. And I mean, again, it's hot on my mind. We've gotten a pretty big Final Cut release lately. We're on version 11. We weren't sure that we would ever get that or what that was going to look like. There were so many question marks around that. We just got this brand new version 20 release hot off the press for DaVinci Resolve. I mean, there's the tools in both are crazy. But again, like, what about where Final Cut is at right now has you excited, worried? Like, what's kind of, I mean, your channel is around it, but what is the vibe in your mind on where Final Cut is at and stuff?
Yeah, it is hard because there's that FOMO for sure, right? You see Resolve comes out with like 30 pages of additional updates every other month. Um so there is that FOMO and like, man, why don't we get this many updates? And I have to ask myself, like, am I bummed by that because it makes it so I can't edit videos as well? Or am I bummed because I don't have the content to create around, right?
Yeah.
And I found personally, a lot of the FOMO for me is literally just because I don't have the content to create around updates, because it's always
Mhm.
exciting, reading the comments of how everybody's using the new tools and that. So, and that's personal for me.
For sure.
There are people that need those additional tools to make them better at their craft. I get that 100%. But for me, I'm actually quite a cut and dry editor when I'm not editing for YouTube and retention and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm very much like stick to the basic cuts and just keep it as simple as possible. I enjoy that editing style. I think that I can tell good stories through that. So for me, Final Cut is just like the bee's knees, right? Because
Oh, for sure.
you can edit so fast in that style.
Yeah.
And yeah, other AI features and stuff, they're amazing and I love it, but there's something like really cool about for example, Resolve just got the AI music extension tool. That's awesome. That's so cool. And it is something I would love to have in Final Cut. But there's also a part of me that really enjoys the process of taking 2 or 3 songs, cutting them up, putting them together, and puzzle piecing that together, and then knowing at the end, like, that's something I created out of these other puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
There's something that I really love about that, and it feels tactile and like I had my hands all over this edit rather than just, oh, I needed this song longer, extend, done.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a stupid reason, right? Like,
No,
the
I don't
faster you
think
can
so.
edit, the faster you can pay your bills. But
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something so cool about that aspect of Final Cut, and it forces you to think outside the box. And I really think you can make a better edit with that type of methodology to your editing. It gives you better understanding of like what a certain piece of music is doing to your video. There's just a lot of aspects to it that I really love.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, and I think you're kind of getting at really where I am sitting with a lot of this stuff, which is there's kind of the core experience of cutting footage. And then there's the like everything we're trying to kind of explode on top of it. And I think even like borderline magnetic mask would fall into this category of like, there's a few use cases where this is awesome, but like at the end of the day, depending on what it is, like it's still maybe not doing what it needs to do or whatever. And I think that what you're saying, and I agree with you, like the bones, the brick of the road of Final Cut Pro is, in my opinion, just the right way. It's the right way to think about like cutting footage. And I know everyone debates that, but whatever. We're not going to debate that today because we agree. Like we think that that's the truth.
Exactly.
And so more for me, it's okay, is this other pile of other stuff that, you know, Resolve is bringing to the table, does it make up for that? Does it make that stuff slower or less optimal or whatever? And I mean, a great example, and I'll be completely honest with you because there's some truth to it. Like I wanted to do the podcast again because I want to try the auto cutting podcast feature that just came out in DaVinci Resolve. And I'm sitting there going, maybe this is like a huge time saver, but maybe it's not. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe we're back for one episode and then I run away for another 6 months.
You know, it's funny. I did try that out when it was announced. I was like, okay, I want to see, like, could this work for my tutorials? Could it auto cut between my screen and my face? But I don't think it's designed for that very well. It didn't work.
Oh, really?
But specifically, I think it's because, like, a podcast edit, it's got multiple people talking and it can look at the audio waveforms, be like, oh, this person's talking, this person's talking. Whereas when it's my tutorials, it was just like the dude's still talking, so I'm just gonna lock in on his face the whole time.
Just keep him front and center. Yeah.
It was a great tutorial, let me tell you.
I was gonna say the thing that I would like to try with that is if you could, like if you had a picture in picture and you rendered them as 2 layers. Is it smart enough to, because it's supposed to, I haven't tested it. You and me, we're guinea pigging today, but it should work for this.
Let's stay on. Yeah.
But like, could you, because it's supposed to, it claims it can also visually detect talking. So maybe if you were in a small picture on there, maybe it could pick that up. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, that wouldn't work because you're still talking no matter what. It's not like you're, no, that doesn't.
You have to put a mouth on your computer.
Yeah. The computer needs its own separate voice.
Once you do that, you're set. So I do think though, like probably by next year they'll have a tutorial maker mode and it'll know when you're working on your, like it'll look for mouse movement and then it'll cut back to you. Like I feel like that's such an easy implementation now that they've got what they've got. So it's exciting stuff.
How crazy would that be? Like just from like a purely philosophical standpoint, like, oh, you can just make a tutorial. It's like, do I like that? How do I feel about that? Is that good? We're like, cause at that point, I don't know.
I think it is good, the more people are making tutorials, the better, right? Like
Yeah.
the more knowledge that's just free on the internet, that's a good thing. But it is fun to like get to really finesse your tutorial and
Yeah.
make it just that much better.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm all for it. The more tutorials, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well, I wanted to try, and that I'm again hopefully gonna, I don't know when, I want to make a video about it, but the other thing that I think would be interesting is if you had, like we were talking about it beforehand, where I like to jump around the shed. Like, what if I just had 4 cameras set up? Do I actually have to do anything, or can I just record on all of them and then go, okay, hey, I'm talking to this camera. Is it smart enough to know that? And then walk over to the other one. Is it smart enough to know that? Like,
I bet you it would for that. That
I
feels
think
like
so.
that's what it's designed for. So
Yeah. So I want to try that. There's still probably, like you said, it feels like there would be a lot of finesse that you'd want to do, but maybe like at least it gets the rough cut faster. I don't know.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Hey, the future is now. We are living it.
We are living it. Yeah. So, okay. So you said that you played with the auto cutting feature. So you have Resolve installed on your computer. Like,
hey man,
secrets
out.
Are you thinking about it? like what
I'm
does that look like for you?
DaVinci Resolve user. No. Okay, so
News.
So specifically version 20 really piqued my interest because actually the number one feature, and it's like a random feature that I don't think a lot of people are getting that much interest on, but the AI depth extractor tool.
Really?
Because for VFX purposes, that is a huge win for implementing stuff into your scene. And I was like, I've been trying to find a really good AI depth extractor, and I don't know if Adobe has one, but like I was online and I would go through Runway ML and all that stuff, and it was never like that good. And you also had subscription costs or credits or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, Resolve has got this, and that's a big win, especially if it's any good. So I popped it open, and it's like the best depth extractor I've used. So that was a huge win. Had no problem.
What do you use it for? This is above my pay grade, man. What kind of special sauce you got going on here?
Hey, special sauce. Okay, so like a super base level is you extract the depth and you use it as a luma mask, right? So the brighter an object is, the more you see it in the mask. So if you do that and then you apply like a cloud's texture or something in the background, you can make it look like fog. And if you adjust the contrast on that mask, you can like push the fog way back, pull it forward. But you can also use it to like throw in a 3D object behind trees, and because it's further behind the trees, the way the mask works, it doesn't solve everything, but it's a huge step in saving yourself a lot of roto time. It's just a cool technique, and it's not perfect, obviously, but I was like, oh my gosh, like I can use this to create really atmospheric scenes in a couple seconds rather than manually rotoing everything. So I was excited about that. It's a super small niche thing, but I do love VFX. That's one of my passions that I never get to teach on. But
I was gonna say, so you just like do that completely on the side, because I don't feel like I've seen anything about this from you. But.
Yep, that's my hobby outside of my hobby.
But I'm not editing.
I do that stuff for fun. Yeah, and I'm not any good at it, but it's just really fun for me.
Yeah. No, dude, that's crazy cool. I would not have guessed that was the feature that intrigued you, but also that's cool because you're into a completely different sphere and honestly, like I am not VFX-y whatsoever. I mean, my stuff is so rudimentary there, but it's cool. I mean, there's all the tools are there in Resolve. I should play with it.
Fusion's insane, dude. I was just poking around in Fusion. I was like, man, there's way more here than I know what to do with. So they got a lot going on in there.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. Okay, so you installed that. You're playing around with that. That's super cool. You tried the angle cutting thing. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot.
There was so much in that update. The music extension.
Yeah.
There was like, the transcription stuff that they've added is crazy. So you can do paper edits. Like, all that stuff is super cool and exciting. And I guess that's kind of where I was going with that. It's like, I can live in a world where I love Final Cut and I love DaVinci Resolve. Like, that's okay. Yes, I'm the Final Cut bro. That was a marketing choice at the beginning. But like,
yeah,
in the end, I'm a video editor, and why not have a world where I use both tools? So that's kind of the perspective I'm looking at this is like, well, can I take stuff from Resolve and do parts of my workflow there and send that over to Final Cut? Like, can I do that? So that's something I'm experimenting with now. And fortunately you have great tutorials on stuff like that. So I was watching some of your videos on how to make Resolve feel more like Final Cut, and I was like, dang, I don't completely miss the magnetic timeline now because I can ripple delete and stuff and get all the clips together. So and whoever shared that comment in your video with like the swapping clips left and right.
Yep.
That I was like, okay, things are getting crazy now. So I do think there's a world where you can do both, right?
Oh, for sure. No, I mean, I'm biased. Like, I'm a huge believer in that. And I mean, I tell people all the time, like, if you are someone who uses Final Cut and you're just kind of wanting to get in with, the FOMO or whatever we're calling it, like, try just color grading your video in Resolve. Like, just kind of open it up, start soaking it in, do the color grading, or do some motion graphics on top, or, there's just so many things that it can do so easily, even completely at the last step, that like, you might as well try. And, well, the other great example that I always say too is like, the caption thing in Final Cut right now is garbage. Like, if you're making vertical content, but you love Final Cut, buy Resolve, transcribe and do all the automated captions, which I haven't tested the animation side of it yet, but the actual speech to text, it works stupidly good.
It's stupid crazy. Good. Yeah. I was very shocked by that. And the fact that you can edit your video, just like select text and delete. And I was like, this is awesome.
Dude, that feature, like, if you're like finding clips or podcasts on the internet, like that feature saves hours of time.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I'm looking for every time Dylan says that he was a drug dealer. Just like,
there is a lot.
There it is. Found it. Clip, cut.
Just please make a short of just that one clip. I was a drug dealer.
I was a drug dealer.
Just big, bold, animated letters.
Yeah, but they're animated too. Yeah.
Yeah, they look like Breaking Bad, like the the little intro sequence. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But no, there's lots of cool stuff. And again, like I love hearing that you're kind of taking that more, I don't know if mature is the right word, but I think it is, of just, they're tools, man. They're tools, and there's cool things you can do with both. And I think the thing that I always tell people, and I'm curious where your stance is with that, is just like, nowadays, if you're learning or you're new, like, it's hard not to recommend Resolve, and that's probably a great avenue to go. But like, just because you're using Final Cut doesn't mean that it's not like picking teams,
Yeah.
Thanks, Apple. It's not a subscription model. You bought it, you still get it. You can buy another one, and there's room on your computer for both.
It's crazy. They're tiny, man. You just download 10 of them. And that's actually a really good point. Like, where it really isn't teams. It's like just hand in hand, brother. And I had a completely other point that has left my brain, so I'm not even going to keep on going.
Okay. Yeah.
Dang it.
No, well, if you think of it, interrupt me, but I just think that that's the truth of it for sure. And I feel like that's half the time. I feel like that's my goal on YouTube, is just trying to get people to not be dumb. But I do like stirring the pot for sure. It's just fun. But Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
I think so. Let's see. So I don't know if where did we maybe we got off on a lot of tangents. Did we get kind of your thoughts on, I mean, I guess we kind of did with the fact that you're looking at Resolve, you're kind of
Mhm.
curious about it. But as far as like just Final Cut goes in version 11, I mean,
Mhm.
are we happy? Are we
Yeah,
excited?
dude.
Like what's the feelings here? Because I'm feeling pretty positive, and a lot of
Mhm.
people dunked on me for feeling positive.
I know, that's crazy. Okay, so because I felt weird, I was like, why do I feel really optimistic?
Yeah.
Because 11.1 dropped, and okay, yeah, adjustment clips should have had those 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, but it really did feel like they're genuinely acting on features. Yeah, it's taken forever, but they're acting on features that we've wanted for so long, and it
Yeah.
feels like it's coming out faster. Like this
Yeah.
was the I feel like this is the closest 2 updates have come out that have actually added some genuinely much needed features.
Yeah.
So that's got me really excited for the future. So I was in the same boat as you. I was feeling really optimistic and excited. I think it was massively tainted by version 20 of Resolve dropping out,
Yeah.
or dropping at the same time, not dropping out. Um, so that made it difficult for people to be like, awesome, 11.1, this is so great. But for me, I was talking in a Discord with some friends, and like I feel great. Like I feel like Final Cut's finally going in a direction that's exciting and
Hmm.
different maybe for Apple. But yeah, I think it's just got overshadowed by what Resolve's doing, and
Yeah.
that's okay. You know, we'll just be excited about our 11.1. You, me, nobody else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think, yeah, you're making a good point, or at least what I think you're kind of getting at, which is so true, which is just that it's not what we want, but it's
Mhm,
more of what we've been wanting. So
mhm.
like,
Yeah.
can we, like, and don't get me wrong, like I am all for bringing the heat. Like I'm not going to sit here and defend Final Cut too much. There's a
Yeah,
lot that needs to happen, but like
come
also
on.
like take them when we get them, like,
Yeah.
and the adjust, like you pointed this out, the new adjustment layer is so
Mhm.
much better than the third party adjustment layer because you can
Yeah.
now do the transitions on it. Like it actually is, it's not a nothing burger. There's some
It's
nice
it's
quality of
markedly
life coming
better.
with it. Yeah.
It solves a lot of issues. Somebody else was pointing out to me, like, when you'd use a third-party adjustment clip, it would change the thumbnail on the little project thumbnail that you would have in Final Cut,
Yeah.
and now the new adjustment clip doesn't do that. Like, you
Yeah.
can still see your media, and it's a small thing, but I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." That's like another upgrade on top of this small upgrade, but nice to have. The one
Yeah.
thing I wish is they would make it so you could add like blend modes, and it would kind of blend the elements of the adjustment clip. But I don't know how they'll do that. You know, that's it.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah. I
I'll
don't
take
know
that when
how,
I can get
but
it.
yeah,
Somehow.
how would you do that? No, that would
I
be
don't
really cool.
yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
someday.
Dude, that's I don't know, this just total tangent, but it just made me think of it. That is like one thing about Final Cut Pro that has always driven me crazy, and I didn't know that it drove me crazy until I started using DaVinci. But like when you are looking at the blend modes, it
Mhm.
doesn't
Oh,
preview
yep.
what it
Oh,
does.
yeah.
You have to click it. And then I went over to Resolve, and you can hit the drop down, and you're going through
Yeah.
blend modes, and it changes as you're hovering over them. And I was just like, that's such a small thing
Yep.
that matters so much to me.
It seems like it would be an Apple feature too, right? It
Yeah.
seems like something Apple would do is like instant preview of the thing you're looking at. You're not
Yeah.
waiting around to find out if it's going to work. But yeah, that's something that feels like it desperately needs an update. That and LUTs. Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
like
Preview the
going through
LUTs before
LUTs
I click on them.
is terrible, man. But then I was just in Resolve, and I was like, oh, I can see what every single LUT is going to do to my clip like instantly. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So
Yeah. Oh, it's, yeah.
the small things.
the small things. And that's the point, right? Is we're still Like, I think you can be both. I think we can be super optimistic about what's coming, but also be like, no, like there's things that we still want. There's things that should be there, and I'm not gonna defend them. Well, like,
Yeah. I wouldn't
and of
mind a
course-
3D tracker, surface tracking. I wouldn't mind a big update to the object tracker so it's like locked in and you can apply specific effects like the bulge filter with there's so much stuff I would love, but
so
maybe
much.
someday.
Well, and maybe I just thought about this. Maybe the reason there was such a knife in like 11.1 was because in Resolve we got actual spline curves on the edit page.
Yes.
Which is another one we've just been like begging Apple for forever, and they still won't do it. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm so happy for us in Resolve land, but damn, everyone in the Final Cut Pro is going to be so sad.
Yeah, that was a big one. Well, I feel like that's got to come because everybody begs for it. When it does come, I think it's going to be a really good implementation, but it's a long waiting game. And fortunately, I just jump over to Motion, so it doesn't bother me. But most of the Final Cut community doesn't use Motion regularly, so it's just kind of, come on.
Yeah, I know.
We'll get there.
I keep debating because you've got so many great Motion videos. I keep debating, like, I have it. I've paid for it. It's sitting right down there in the dock. Like, I've been debating learning it, but I also know Fusion, and
if you hate the node system in Fusion, I would say Motion's the way to go. But if you're already like working in Resolve and you understand nodes at all, nodes are just inherently more powerful than the other basic list systems and stuff. So Fusion's awesome. I've been tinkering around with Fusion because I was like, man, I want to just really grasp what these nodes are doing, and there's so much you can do with that node system. So that's really cool. But Motion is like amazing if you just want fast-paced, get this graphic done and a permanent template for Final Cut Pro for forever. That's what it's like really good at.
Yeah, no, and that would be super crazy nice. So maybe I'll add that to the list. I don't know. We'll try to get the podcast back first, and then maybe we'll
get the podcast one thing at a time here, Jake. Come on. I'm gonna learn like 10 apps in the next month, and then I'm gonna understand them pure.
We'll see. Yeah, but that's all hedging on Autopod doing its thing in DaVinci Resolve. So.
I'm feeling optimistic.
Yeah, I can't wait to text you and be like, dude, this was the best podcast I've ever edited.
Or it's the worst, and that'll almost be more amusing. It's just like reverse cutting. So every time I'm talking, it's only sitting on you, and that would be awesome.
Oh, man. This feature is absolute crap. Cool, man. Well, hey, quick time check. We're kind of getting close-ish to the hour mark. Are you you good to go a little longer, or where are we at with your time?
Yeah, man.
I want to make sure.
I'm my own boss.
You're your own boss. Yeah. I think if you've got the time, the last thing that I kind of really wanted to ask you today, again, just because hopefully a lot, like I got my topic in that I wanted to talk about with just where we're at with these two softwares. We're both very, level-headed about the way we're talking about them, but like let's dial it back to the roots. Let's talk about Final Cut Pro. Like, what someone's here because they love you, or they're kind of getting started with Final Cut Pro, like fresh download, they're getting into editing. Like, is there anything you want to recommend, or like what kind of stuff would you want to give that person that's here today?
The one piece of advice I would give for anybody that's just starting out in Final Cut is really take the time to learn the magnetic timeline. Just like lock in and learn everything you can about that, because it's going to be really difficult to get to grips with at the beginning. But once you do, it's the number one reason to use Final Cut. Like that, I mean, anybody you talk to that loves Final Cut Pro is like, oh yeah, I love it because of the magnetic timeline. Like, that's the feature.
Mhm.
And if you don't learn that, then you are just missing out on the number one thing that makes Final Cut great. So really take the time to learn that. I have videos on that. I'm sure you have videos on the magnetic timeline. Like that's where I would put all my focus and energy for like a week straight and learning the different keyboard shortcuts because there's some hidden ones.
Yeah.
And once you do that, like you will edit so fast in Final Cut and it's just going to feel so good and it'll become second nature. And that's where you get to the point of like editing at the speed of thought. I
Yeah.
think my friend Raphael Ludwig said that. And it's just like, that's so true. You just are editing as you're thinking about the process. And it's so cool to edit that way. So
Yeah.
that's what I'd focus on. The other stuff is great, color grading and effects and blend modes and all that stuff is fun to mess around with, and you will come across that stuff as you go. But like if you learn the building blocks of Final Cut in that way, then it's gonna make your time so much better.
Yeah. No, and it's again, not to circle back on the topic, but it is the one, I feel like it is the one feature that pretty much all of us unanimously agree is like, this is the thing we can't give up. This is
Yeah.
the thing that is so hard to go away from because it's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain it to people who haven't used it, but it is so intuitive. It feels like the right way to edit footage and not destroy your footage as you're editing. And yeah, it's crazy that it kind of is a one-off in a world where most other editors aren't doing it. I made a video about it, and I was actually, again, since I've got a fellow Final Cut bro here, like, I think the thing that I recently realized and I talked about it was like, it feels like the magnetic timeline is the closest digital representation to actually splicing film.
Yeah, I heard you mention that.
Like, am I crazy with that? Or like, I don't know. I think so, right? Because of the fact that you can't overwrite stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. You cut it and you move it apart and place the other piece there. Yeah. It's like an automated film. And I think that was a really good analogy there. I definitely agree with that. I've never personally cut film, but I've watched films on cutting film.
Yeah. I've learned about it.
I've watched at least 200 films. No. But
Exactly.
I think that's a good analogy, and I would have to ask my dad, who actually did cut film. Like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
Is that what it's like? So we'll get him on the podcast next. The
Dude,
bro and the dad.
pop a Final Cut bro. I want to hear about that. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. That's something that's driving me crazy as I'm trying to learn Resolve better. It's like you got a clip above on the timeline and you just drag the other clip up there and it just overwrites it. And it's like, why in the world would I want to overwrite what I had there?
Yeah, like I had it there for a reason.
Yeah. I know there's keyboard shortcuts to get around it and stuff, but I was just like, what possible reason would I want that to be the default? So got dogs barking.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. No, I completely agree. And I mean, I've made lots of videos about it because I was just so like, there's got to be ways to make this feel better. And there's a lot of things you can do, but there is still some core fundamentals that if you mess up or just structurally aren't the same, and there's no way to really do it like that. And as we were talking, I was sitting here just kind of like postulating, like, is there a world where no matter what you did moving stuff around in Resolve, could it always bounce stuff to the right? And like, I don't know. I don't know if it can work in the constraints of that software. Like, it feels like it's like a feature like, hey, could you add this black magic just to where it won't destroy stuff? And if I drag a clip down, everything that was there moves. I don't know.
Yeah.
It may not be possible.
Maybe with AI. Maybe we'll get the technology to
do it with AI. Yeah.
Automatically shift everything to the right.
It's the answer to everything.
A simple feature, but I know nothing about development. So I'm just amazed at how fast they're pumping out these features. And I think
I know. And how stable
that's something that the Final Cut team could really draw from is beta programs.
Yeah.
I feel like that's Resolve's huge strength because they drop Resolve 20 beta.
Yeah.
And then you get thousands of people jumping on, testing it, pushing its limits, and finding out what's broken with it. And they know that it's a broken piece of software and that they shouldn't be editing their massive projects on it. But they're just like so excited to try the new features. And if Final Cut had that, I do think the development process would go a lot faster because instant feedback, like, hey, the friggin' overlays don't work from version 11. Like, why don't the overlays work? I think that stuff would help a lot. So if the Apple
it's
community ever
crowdsourcing your testing, like why not do it?
Yeah, for free. Like,
And when you put beta, we want to help you. And when you put beta on software, like the expectation is set. People aren't like, if they're level-headed and smart, they know, oh, I've got a huge trip to London next month. Maybe I don't download the beta.
Maybe. Or you just download it on the side. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
If you can have both sitting there, I'm going to edit this big project on the stable and this fun project on the beta. Yeah.
Maybe and that's actually crazy about Resolve 2 is you can go back and download, I think, every version they've released for like the last decade. Like if you wanted to use Resolve 15, you can. Still.
In fact, I exclusively use Resolve 15.
That's AI depth map for 20, and then I edit on 15 on the side.
I just backdate it, baby.
Oh man, dude, that's so good. That's so good. All right, man. Well, is there anything I've missed in that you want to hit us with? I mean, like the dorky daddies over here, we love, talking about this stuff, and I would say open invitation to come back more frequently.
That would be fun.
I keep meaning to repeat guests, and I haven't. And maybe this year we start doing that. So
hey, I was gonna ask your opinion. I don't even know if you've gotten to try it. The Vision Pro. Have you got to try it?
I haven't. I have not.
I got to try it in the Apple Store near you.
Okay.
That's where I tried it.
to go. I've been meaning to go try it.
You should do it. It's okay. So my trip to London.
Okay.
The Vision Pro is outlandishly expensive. Yes. I don't think it's for the majority of people, but I got to use the Vision Pro on the plane for 9 hours, and I felt like I was editing at home. I had this massive screen in front of me. I thought I was going to be super self-conscious about sitting there with this big old thing strapped to my face. I forgot like 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
It's a game changer for video editors traveling, because I was telling you earlier, I am all in on laptops.
Oh, yeah.
Before my channel started, I was like, only desktop. I need the power of the desktop. That's just exactly where I need to be. But ever since the laptops got the Apple Silicon chips, and they've just been performing insane, I'm like, of course I want a laptop. Like I got this little 14-inch machine that can edit a feature film and like not even skip a beat. Yeah. So having like a 14-inch laptop and the Apple Vision Pro, just game changer for video editors. That's all I got to say. But I was just excited about that and needed to share my excitement with somebody.
No, and you're right, because I forgot. I looked at my notes and I still forgot to circle back on that one, because I think that's a really interesting point. So when you said you used to use desktops, then did you have the big boy, the cheese grater?
No, man. I was pretty broke then. I was using the old 27-inch Intel iMac.
Oh, the iMacs. Yeah.
Just the iMac, which was a great machine, and I wish they'd bring another 27-inch. Oh, I wouldn't use it now that I have my laptop, but I wish they would bring that back, because that was just like perfect form and function. And I loved that thing. I brought that thing to Starbucks a couple times.
Nice.
I treated it like a laptop. just like
Oh, man.
plugging it in. You'd get stares, but who cares?
Yeah. You're there to do work and you're letting everyone know about it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Should have started my YouTube
hilarious.
channel then.
Yeah. Yeah. No, those were great computers. I know. And the new iMacs are like, it's funny because you probably, like, I think if you spec'd one out, I'd be just fine. I don't think I'd be sad at all about the performance. But it's just like, I don't want that computer. I don't know why, but I don't want that computer.
I just think they need to add the Max chips to it, you know? I don't think you can get Max, or an Ultra chip would be even better.
Yeah.
I think that would go a long way. But the screen size, like, I think they're 24 inches or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like, I just need just a little bit more. But
Yeah.
I don't know. They're awesome machines. It's just, I think they realize that they're more catered towards like people that aren't video editing, probably.
Oh, for sure.
We're the edge case here. So.
We're the edge case. Absolutely.
They're like, yeah, most people are just using this to look up recipes and whatever. So
yeah, watch some
Makes
Netflix.
Yeah, exactly.
So which chip do you have in your laptop? Like what?
I got
version
the
are you
M4 Max chip.
on? Oh, okay. So you're living the power life over there.
I am living the power life. It's pretty sweet. It cuts through everything.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I will say about Result. It cuts like butter most of the time, but then I get in the fusion panel and I added like grain, like the simplest effect, and it just brought it to its knees. I was like, what the heck are they doing with this grain, man?
Oh, they're doing crazy stuff with the grain. Yeah. The grain and
grain.
noise. It's good grain.
It's the best grain.
High quality.
Back to my drug dealing days. This is real good grain.
This makes the best bread.
I was like, what? This is the simplest, like, I slap this on everything in motion, but then I come over to Resolve, and that's like the only effect. It's like a gradient and grain, and it was just like chugging. So I don't know what they're putting in that grain, but.
Oh, there's a few landmines. That one, anything with motion blur almost always cripples anything beyond a super simple like animation. There's
motion blurs. Why is motion blur still brutal, man? Why, like,
oh dude,
we got ray tracing chips, but we don't have a motion blur chip in our computers. Like, what is going on?
It seems like that one should be solved. I'm with you. Yeah.
That's been chugging for like 40 years of computer. Motion blur has just been brutal on every machine.
Yeah. It's never been good. One day we'll get that. But
we'll be graced with that.
Yeah.
So
no, that's interesting to hear because like I think I guess I can look here. What am I? I think I'm M2 Maxin. Yeah. M2 Max.
That's
great. Like no complaints. And that's the thing is like I would love what you're rocking just because I'm a curious human being. But like the ones that we just talked about, oh, they still suck? Okay, well, I guess I'm fine then.
yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, it didn't solve motion blur? Okay. I guess
wait till the F5. All right.
Yeah, everything else is still great here otherwise, so we'll just keep chugging along. But yeah.
It is a good machine
for
everywhere
cutting
else.
footage, like it's great and both of them are snappy on that front, which is awesome. But
I think the main benefit with these super powerful chipsets is that you have so much overhead that it just sips battery when you're doing, like, I edited an entire video and it only used 10% of my battery.
Yes.
I was just like, that's insane.
Dude, it blows. I've done that a couple of times where I was like, I don't have my charger, but I was like, well, let's just test it. And like, I could do the rough cut or like almost all of the video. And I was like, wait, I haven't even needed to charge. The Intel days, I wouldn't have made it an hour.
Yeah, exactly, dude. There's no way I would touch a laptop when they were Intel based. But now that they're Apple Silicon, it's just like, that's probably the only machine I'll ever really go for. I have a Mac Studio here. With more of a live stream setup, but like, it's it's a great machine.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to remember how I got swindled into it, but in the 2019 era, I think it was the last Touch Bar Intel Macs. I bought one of those.
Yeah.
And whoa, Those
That's
babies
not
can
too
cook
far.
some eggs. I'll tell you what.
And we actually got rid of our stovetop and just used
Yeah.
the laptop. So
Just turn on Final Cut, tell it to background render, and I just could cook
yeah,
breakfast at the same time.
yeah, dude, it was a great cost saving measure because after we bought the laptop, we didn't have enough money for the stove. So
For the stove. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, those were so bad. And
Yeah.
yeah. But again, like the reason it worked well was because I was using Final Cut and you could background render. Like otherwise you wouldn't have been able to do anything. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Now I disable background rendering like first thing. New machine, disable background rendering.
Turn it off. I know. That is okay. Actually, that is one thing that I love about DaVinci is the fact that you can have intelligent background rendering. And it didn't used to be that good. It keeps getting better, but it's able to look at places that it's going to struggle and just render those spots.
Oh,
So
I didn't know it
to
had that.
have one or the other. Whereas Final Cut, you have to do
Whoa.
all of it.
So, okay. I think here's the news, guys. I quit. Final Cut's dead. I'm only in Resolve now because it knows where to render.
What? He's doing it. He's doing it.
Thumbnail.
Thumbnail, title. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it misses sometimes, but like for the most part, if it's just like one track of video, it doesn't render that, which is nice. But then,
Wild.
if you throw a graphic or text on
Yeah.
top, it'll be like, oh, okay, let's render that section.
That
And
makes so much sense.
they have like, they now I just feel like a salesman, but it's just exciting, Dylan. It's exciting. They
It
recently
is. I'm
fixed it
stoked.
so that there's this whole system where you can look at all of your projects and how much rendered data they've produced. And then you can set a retention limit.
Oh,
So it like
God.
5 days, it'll just go in and delete it, which like half the time it's like delete it the second I'm done, because if I go
Yeah.
back in there, just re-render it.
Yeah, just I've exported the video. It's already on YouTube. Get rid of that stuff.
Yeah, get rid of
fast.
that stuff. So
That's super cool. That's
clean. It's pretty
there's
clean.
there's a lot more stuff to deep dive in on because I do know a lot of people have issues with their Final Cut files just like ballooning up like crazy, and they're like, "Why is this 300 gigs?" And it's all the render data and like
Yep.
the analyzing for magnetic mask and stuff. It would be so nice if it just went, "Okay, well, you're done with the project 2 days later. Let's just clear this out. You can remake it if you want." But yeah,
Yeah, that
Maybe
stuff
someday.
sucks away space.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish too. I've actually, especially with the new Apple Silicon stuff, it seems like they should be able to have a project setting for like H.265 for the background rendering, because it just
Yeah.
seems like, because what's the smallest? It's like ProRes
It's
LT.
like ProRes. Yeah, ProRes LT. Yeah.
Like it's still huge. Like
Why?
why can't you background
have-
render something really small? But
We have efficiency cores for H.265 in Apple Silicon chips. So like,
Yeah.
let's use them.
let's use them. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someday we'll get the technology.
Someday. All right. Well, hey man, I'm gonna let you go, and I gotta get moving here a little bit too. But this has been awesome. Like, fast friends. Love chatting with you again. Anytime you're in the area, don't hesitate to reach out. I feel like it's gratuitous. We have to do it. Where can the people find you on the internet if they don't already know you? Because of course they would know you coming here over me.
Drugdeals.com is my main handle. No, dude, I'm gonna get you demonetized. I'm sorry.
Who cares?
At the Final Cut Bro, pretty much everywhere except for I pretty much only ever use YouTube. So, you can look for my handles on other websites. You'll find me there, but I won't be posting much. So, just find me on YouTube at the Final Cut Bro, and it'll be a good time.
Yep, you'll learn a whole bunch. Dylan's great. If you're interested in Final Cut Pro and just editing, he's the man. So, dude, thank you for gracing us, dorky daddies, with your presence today.
I had so much fun.
Yeah. No, have a great rest of your day and your weekend. Thanks, man.